Hello again, everyone. The Snowman here talking some NBA today. We're going to go through the basics of an NBA game and explain how everything is set up. You guys seem to really enjoy my How Does the NBA Work video where I explain the format of the league, but today it's more about each individual game. We're going to answer questions like what are the time parameters of each game, how many players are on the court at once, what are some of the major rules, the dimensions of the court, just some main aspects to help you be more informed as you tune into NBA games this season. Let's start off with some time variables for each NBA game. We play 4 12-minute quarters for a total of 48 minutes per game, so not like college where they play 2 20-minute halves. We've got 48-minute games. If the score is still tied at the end of regulation, then we play an extra 5-minute overtime period. If it's still tied after those additional 5 minutes, we keep playing 5-minute OT periods until one team wins. The NBA record for one game is 6 overtimes. We also have a 24-second shot clock, so if a team has possession for 24 seconds and they fail to shoot the ball and hit the rim or score in that time, then it will be a shot clock violation and the other team will receive possession. Here's a quick diagram of our NBA court, 94 feet long, 50 feet wide. If you dribble the ball out of bounds or stand out of bounds with the basketball, then the other team gets possession. The free throw line is 15 feet from the basket. The three-point line is about 24 feet from the hoop. The basket itself is 10 feet tall with a backboard that's 6 feet wide and 3.5 feet tall. In terms of the players on an NBA team, they're allowed to have 20 players over the offseason, but during the regular season, the rosters must be cut down to 15 players. Of those 15 guys, only 13 can be active each game, so 13 players for coaches to choose from each night. Of those 13, 5 players are on the basketball court at once. You can sub in and out during most dead ball situations as many times as you want throughout the game. The NBA, not like most soccer leagues where if a player is subbed out, they can't come back in. In the NBA, you can sub in and out as many times as you like as long as 5 players remain on the court at one time. Also, one rule to keep in mind, if a player picks up 6 personal fouls, then they will foul out of the game. That's an automatic ejection. In most other pro basketball leagues and in college, it's only 5 fouls to be disqualified, but in the NBA, that number is 6. Let's stick with fouls for a moment. Once a team commits 5 fouls in a single quarter, then the other team will be in the bonus and shoot 2 free throws for every foul committed against them for the rest of the quarter. Also, if there's 2 fouls under 2 minutes left in a quarter, then free throws are also awarded in that instance. The team fouls do reset from quarter to quarter, but just know that they do pile up in this particular way. We also have certain rule violations which result in technical fouls. A technical foul is a penalty for violating the game's administrative rules, things like fighting and verbal abuse. You'll often see coaches receive technical fouls if they're too demonstrative or abrasive when disputing a call. Technical fouls result in a free throw and a change of possession. If a player or coach receives 2 techs in the same game, they'll be automatically ejected. We also have flagrant fouls, which are a personal foul with excessive contact that can potentially injure the opponent. These fouls carry heavier penalties such as fines, immediate ejection, and even suspension. There's 2 types of flagrant fouls, flagrant 1s and flagrant 2s. A flagrant 1 refers to fouls involving unnecessary contact, and the penalty for this foul type is 2 free throws for the opponent and possession of the ball. Then a flagrant 2 refers to any foul involving unnecessary and excessive contact. For these fouls, the player at fault is assessed a fine and an automatic ejection from the game. That's a flagrant 2, and the opposing team receives free throws and possession of the ball. Some other rules involving time constraints in a typical NBA game. We've got the 5-second violation. Every time a team is inbounding the ball after a made basket or a dead ball situation, they've got 5 seconds to pass the ball in play or else they turn the basketball over to the other team. We also have 8-second violations. After opponent made baskets, you have 8 seconds to dribble the basketball and cross over midcourt. If you take longer than 8 seconds, it's a turnover. You also can't go back across midcourt once you've already initially crossed it during that possession, or else it's a turnover as well. And we also have 3-second violations. This is if an offensive or defensive player is camping out in the paint and has both feet in the paint for longer than 3 seconds. This prevents players from camping out in the lane. If it's an offensive player, then you lose possession. If it's a defensive player in the paint for 3 seconds, then the offense gets to shoot 1 technical free throw. And some final fouls and violations to go over. We've got traveling. This is when you carry the basketball for more than 2 steps before getting rid of it. That results in a loss of possession. Goaltending is when a defensive player interferes with a shot that's already on a downward trajectory. You're free to block shots as long as they're still on the way up to their summit, but not once they're coming down or on top of the rim in the NBA. Blocking foul is a very common foul that's issued when a defensive player interferes with the path of the offensive player in a shooting motion. So if a blocking foul is called, then the shooter will get 2 or 3 free throws depending on where they were when the foul occurred. And finally, we have a charge, which is physical contact between an offensive and defensive player. In order to draw an offensive charge, the defensive player must establish legal guarding positioning in the path of the offensive player. If contact is made and a charge is called, no points will be awarded and the ball is turned over. So those are most of the fouls, the penalties, violations, and rules in the NBA. Thanks a lot for watching my NBA Games Explained video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment and I'd love to try to help. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video though. Subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more basketball and other sports content, and I'll be back very soon. Cheers!